I should have walked away the moment I saw the price. A 2-bedroom apartment. In the middle of the city. Rent so low it didn't make sense. No deposit. No background check. Just move in whenever you want. At the time, I didn't question it. I was desperate. "Are you sure this isn't a scam?" my friend Daniel asked over the phone. I stood outside the building, staring up at it. It looked old, like it hadn't been renovated in decades, but it wasn't abandoned. A few windows had lights on. Someone lived here. "I don't care," I said. "It's cheap. That's all I need right now." There was a pause on the line. "Cheap things always come with a cost," Daniel muttered. I laughed it off. I wish I hadn't. The landlord didn't even show up in person. Instead, he left the key under a loose brick near the entrance. No paperwork. No introduction. Just a short text, "Apartment 3B. Don't bother the neighbors." That was it. I remember thinking it was weird, but also convenient. Too convenient. The hallway smelled like damp wood and something else, something faintly rotten. The lights flickered as I walked toward 3B. Step. Flicker. Step. Flicker. It felt like the building itself was breathing. I stopped outside my door. For a second, I hesitated. Then I unlocked it. The apartment was empty. Not just empty of furniture. Empty of life. The air felt heavy, like no one had opened a window in years. But nothing seemed obviously wrong. The walls were cracked. The paint was peeling. The floor creaked under every step. Still, for that price? It was perfect. Or so I thought. That first night, I slept better than I had in weeks. No noise. No distractions. Just silence. Complete, unnatural silence. Until 3:17 a.m. I woke up suddenly. No sound. No movement. Just a feeling. Like someone was watching me. I sat up slowly, my heart pounding. The room was dark. Too dark. I could barely make out the shape of the door. And then I heard it. A soft, scratching sound. Coming from inside the wall. Section 2, the sounds behind the walls. At first, I told myself it was rats. Old buildings always have them. Scratching. Moving. Hiding. It made sense. It had to be that. But the sound didn't stop. It moved. Slowly. Deliberately. From one side of the wall, to the other. Like something was crawling. I got out of bed. "Hello?" I called out. Silence. The scratching stopped instantly. I stood there, holding my breath. Waiting. Listening. Nothing. "Just rats," I whispered to myself. But even as I said it, I didn't believe it. The next morning, I tried to forget about it. I unpacked my things. Cleaned the kitchen. Opened all the windows. Sunlight made everything feel normal again. Safe. Until I noticed something. On the wall next to my bed. Thin, vertical scratches. Like something had been dragged across it. Repeatedly. I stared at them for a long time. They weren't there last night. I was sure of it. That's when I decided to ask the neighbors. The woman in 3A didn't even open her door fully. She kept the chain locked, peeking through the gap. "Did you hear anything last night?" I asked. Her face went pale. "What apartment are you in?" 3B, she immediately shut the door. No explanation. No answer. Just silence. The man downstairs wasn't much better. He froze when I mentioned 3B. Then he shook his head. "You should leave," he said. "Why?" He didn't answer. He just walked away. That was the moment I realized something was very wrong. That night, I stayed awake. Waiting. Watching. 3:17 a.m. Right on time. The scratching started again. Louder this time. Closer. And then I heard something new. A voice. Soft. Whispering. From inside the wall. "Don't leave." My blood ran cold. I slowly turned toward the wall. My hands shaking. My breath shallow. "Hello?" I whispered. The voice came again. Clearer this time. Closer. "Stay with me," and then something hit the wall from the inside. Hard. Right next to my head. I jumped back, falling to the floor. The wall moved. I swear it moved. Like something was pushing against it. Trying to get out. And that's when I realized. This wasn't rats. Something was inside the walls. And it knew I was there. That I didn't sleep for the rest of the night. How could I? Every time I closed my eyes, I heard it again. "Stay with me," that voice. It didn't sound human. Not fully. It was like something trying to imitate a human voice, but getting it wrong. By morning, I had already made up my mind. I needed answers. The landlord still hadn't replied to any of my messages. No calls. No texts. Nothing. It was like he didn't exist anymore. So I did the only thing I could. I started searching the apartment. Every corner. Every crack. Every inch of those walls. At first, I didn't find anything unusual. Just old wiring, peeling paint, and dust. Lots of dust. Until I moved the bed. Behind it, the scratches were worse. Deeper. More aggressive. Like someone, or something, had been trying to break through. And in the center of the wall, there was a small hole. It was barely noticeable. About the size of a coin. Dark inside. Too dark. I crouched down slowly. My heart pounding. I don't know why I did it. I really don't. But I leaned closer. And I looked inside. At first, I saw nothing. Just darkness. Endless, thick darkness. Then something moved. I froze. My breath caught in my throat. Inside the wall. Something shifted. Like an eye adjusting to the light. And then I saw it. An eye. Looking directly at me. I screamed and fell backward, hitting the floor hard. By the time I looked again, the hole was empty. Nothing. No movement. No eye. But I knew what I saw. And that's when I noticed something else. Next to the hole, there were words. Scratched into the wall. Faint. Almost invisible. I leaned closer. "He doesn't let you leave." My stomach dropped. That wasn't there before. I was sure of it. And suddenly, everything made sense. The cheap rent. The silent neighbors. The landlord who never showed up. This apartment wasn't cheap because it was old. It was cheap because something was wrong with it. Something alive. Section 4, the previous tenant. I couldn't stay there. Not after what I saw. Not after that voice. Not after that eye. But before I left, I needed to know one thing. Who lived here before me? I went back downstairs. This time, I didn't knock. I banged on the door of 3A. Hard. "Open the door." I shouted. I know something's wrong with 3B. For a moment, nothing happened. Then slowly, the door creaked open. The woman looked terrified. More terrified than before. You saw it, didn't you? She whispered. My chest tightened. What is it? She hesitated. Her hands trembling. Not here, she said. Come inside. Her apartment felt different. Warmer. Safer. But the fear in her eyes never left. She locked the door behind me. Then turned to face me. You're not the first, she said. My heart sank. What do you mean? She swallowed hard. The last tenant, he lasted 3 weeks. A chill ran down my spine. What happened to him? She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she walked over to a drawer. Opened it. And pulled out something. A notebook. He gave me this, she said. Before he disappeared. Disappeared. Not moved out. Not left. Disappeared. My hands shook as I took the notebook. Read the last page, she whispered. I opened it slowly. Flipping through pages filled with messy handwriting. Notes. Drawings. Scratches. All of it frantic. Desperate. Until I reached the last page. The writing was barely readable. Like it had been written in complete panic. It said, "It lives in the walls, it watches you sleep, it learns your voice, and when it's ready." I turned the page. Nothing. That was it. That's all? I asked. The woman shook her head slowly. No, she said. Her voice dropped to a whisper. That's just where he stopped writing. A cold silence filled the room. Because that night, she continued. He started talking to himself. My heart skipped a beat. What do you mean? Her eyes locked onto mine. He wasn't talking to himself, she said. He was answering something. I felt my blood run cold. And the next morning? I asked. She hesitated. Tears forming in her eyes. He was gone, she said. Only one thing was left behind. My voice barely worked. What? She looked toward the wall we shared with 3B. And whispered. A new voice, inside the walls. Silence. Heavy. Suffocating silence. And in that moment, I realized something that made my entire body go numb. That thing. It doesn't just live in the walls. It takes people. And then. It becomes them. That I didn't go back to my apartment right away. I couldn't. Not after what she told me. It learns your voice, those words wouldn't leave my head. I sat in her apartment for what felt like hours. Every small sound made me flinch. Every creak of the building made my chest tighten. You can stay here tonight, she said quietly. I wanted to say yes. I really did. But something felt wrong. Not in her apartment. In me. A strange pull. Like something was calling me back. Back to 3B. I just need to grab my things, I said. I'll leave after that. She grabbed my arm suddenly. Her grip tight. Don't go back there, she whispered. Too late. I already knew. I wasn't going to listen. Something inside me wanted to go back. And that terrified me more than anything. Section 6, it comes out of the wall. The hallway felt different now. Darker. Longer. Like it stretched further than before. The flickering lights followed me again. Step. Flicker. Step. Flicker. When I reached my door, it was already open. I froze. I was sure I had locked it. Slowly. I pushed it open. The apartment was silent. Too silent. "Hello?" I called out. No answer. But then, from inside the wall, I heard it. My voice. "Hello?" I stumbled back, my heart racing out of control. "No," I whispered. But it came again. Perfect. Clear. Exactly like me. "Hello?" It wasn't copying anymore. It had learned. My breathing became heavy. My hands shaking. "Stop," I said. A pause. Then, "Stop," it repeated. Same tone. Same fear. Same voice. Tears filled my eyes. "This isn't real," I muttered. "This isn't real," it echoed. Something inside the wall shifted. Loud. Heavy. Closer than ever before. Then, a crack. The wall split. Right in front of me. Plaster broke. Dust filled the air. And from inside, something began to push through. A hand. But not normal.